Welcome back to normal baseball. The Dodgers have blown out the Mets in back-to-back games in Queens to take a 3-1 series lead in the NLCS. Welcome back to normal baseball. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And without further ado, we are going to be talking about the NLCS, how fun of a series it's been, and how surprised we are at this series, and everything else in between. Lewis, what are your overall thoughts on the NLCS so far?
It has been some good baseball. I'm happy that these two teams were the ones that made it. However, I will say one team is certainly leading the charge into the World Series rather than one team that is falling flat.
Yeah, and I mean, that one team, without beating around the bush here, is definitely the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are, like I just said, 3-1 in the series, 3-1 up. It's not looking good for the Mets, especially because they just got blown out in back-to-back games at Citi Field. They lost game 3, 8-0, and then last night they lost game 4, 10-2. So they haven't been particularly close at all.
Yeah, not one bit, which absolutely sucks if you're the Mets. If you're the Dodgers, you're looking at it and you're like, usually these Dodgers don't perform to that level for that long. So it's very exciting to see that they're really keeping up the pace, full pedal on the gas, full foot down on the gas, excuse me. Really wondering what the Mets have to offer now going into a game 5. We're talking about a team that this whole season has been able to come from behind. They started off horribly, and look at where they are now in the NLCS. They were underdogs against the Brewers. They were underdogs against the Phillies, and they've come out on top. Excited to see where they go now.
Yeah, they're definitely with their backs up against the wall, but like you mentioned, they're used to this position. Backs up against the wall, crunch time. We need clutch hits. We need to win. I mean, I feel like the argument is definitely there for that, but at the same time, you could say, why haven't we seen that version of the Mets in the last 2 games of this series? We saw it in game 2 in Los Angeles with the Mark Vientos grand slam, intentionally walking Lindor, and then Vientos homered anyway. So we saw some of that form of the Mets in LA, but since they've come back home, we've seen none of that. I mean, they were shut out in game 3. It's like the Dodgers'
Yeah,
fourth shutout of this postseason. So,
which
yeah, I mean,
not a good look.
no, it's not a good look. I mean, it's a great look for the Dodgers, but back-to-back blowout losses in your home stadium is not what you want.
Totally. I'm thinking if you're the Mets, one okay, before I say anything else, no matter what happens in game 5 tonight, best possible retooling season of all time. Easily.
Yeah, I mean,
The fact that this team has been turned around, they have a solid, very, very solid infield right now,
yeah,
right? With
yes, but we're talking like they've already lost the series.
no, 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 no.
We're talking
Well,
like we're
you gotta let me
recapping
finish.
their season right now.
I know you gotta let me finish though,
Okay, whatever.
right? Everything has lined up for them. And now, when you look at this series, yes, they're down 3-1. But in a three to one situation, and you're down, and you have to not only defend your home territory, but then also go win 2 on the road. There is not another team in baseball that I would want in this situation other than these never say die Mets. And I think that's a fair statement to make.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I don't see it happening whatsoever. I don't think they'll do it. I
I
think
agree, but I
wait,
think that they have the best chance.
okay. I mean, looking anyway back to the actual series so far, Mookie Betts is back. He like it was starting to be questioned in the NLDS towards the end, like game 5 and even game 4. But now it's like full swing. He's a monster again. Just in
Oh
this
yeah,
series, he's hitting 333. He's got a homer, 2 doubles, 7 runs batted in through 4 games of the series. He's been a monster. You look at a guy like Tommy Edman, who's hitting in the towards the bottom of the lineup, is hitting 412 in this series. Well, I guess I should say 7 for 17 in this series with 7 RBIs of his own.
yeah,
All their
yeah.
guys are clicking at the same time. Kike Hernandez has been playoff Kike. I mean, that's
Per
definitely a thing
usual.
now. That's almost as much of a thing as playoff Stanton is. And then we got to also talk about Max Muncy, who got on base in 12 straight at bats, which I believe is a new postseason record.
That's like the complete opposite of what Max Muncy usually does. Like that's just super impressive that he turned it on and is able to one take pitches and two. He was usually a true three outcome guy. He's getting his singles, he's getting his doubles. Gotta respect that. Love a guy that can really fit the mold of what a team needs to just continue the batting order.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for the Mets, aside from their offense going cold, which I don't know if it's more of their offense going cold or the Dodgers pitching is really, really good. What do you think? Is it more of the Mets offense went cold, or is it the Dodgers pitching is just on one right now?
Based on the track record of the Dodgers pitching in September and then also in the NLDS against San Diego, I think that the Dodgers pitching turned it up a notch because we were used to watching them get dominated in terms of their starting pitcher gets hit around. I mean, we were calling Yamamoto Yama Meatball when we were watching the Padres series,
That's true. Game one.
game one. Like, it was bad. I think that the pitching stepped up because you look at a guy like Lindor who's hitting 330 or 350 in the postseason. He's been unable to really hit his stride entirely. Yeah, he's ran into a couple of hits, but they've been able to suppress him. Vientos not phased by it, which is really cool. But also, I do think the Mets are shooting themselves in the foot by not starting Jesse Winker every day, who has the best postseason OPS on the team. It doesn't make sense to me there. I think batting Alvarez at all anywhere but your 9 spot does not help, which I believe they moved him in game 4 down to the 9 hole, but he is not ready for the light yet.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Winker stuff. A lot of Mets fans are kind of confused on why they aren't starting Jesse Winker every game. Here, they've been favoring JD Martinez, and I get the matchups, but JD has not been hitting, and Winker is hitting. And in the playoffs, I think it's more important to ride the hot hand rather than try to play the matchup every single game. There's something in it, but I don't think that's fully the way to go. And I know a lot of Mets fans are pretty upset that Winker's not playing, and they're favoring JD over Winker. But I mean, maybe he'll play tonight. Flaherty's on the mound, and I believe when Flaherty pitched earlier in the series, Winker was in the lineup.
I hope so because
Yeah,
the Mets need something.
Yeah,
they need something bad.
Game 1, Winker was in the lineup, and Flaherty pitched, so maybe they'll get their wishes tonight. Speaking of, you mentioned Yama Meatball. He proved it again. He pitched last night in Game 4. He went 4 1/3, 2 earned, 8 strikeouts. And the 8 strikeouts is really the highlighted point there. He's gotten so much better. It was kind of concerning after his first playoff start that he was just going to be Yama Meatball in the playoffs, but now his last 2 starts have been really, really good. Really impressive.
Yeah, which is good to see if you are the Dodgers. I mean, you made this guy the highest paid pitcher in all of baseball for a reason. And you know what? Sure, his season ERA did not look good, sitting at a 3 after having, was it a sub 1 ERA in 4 seasons or 3 seasons in Japan? Like, that's not really what you wanted to see, but you lived with it. But then he comes into the postseason. He got dominated one time, and since then he's sort of been locked down. I don't want to say entirely because he did allow 2 earned runs in Game 4, but not bad whatsoever.
Yeah, and the Dodgers having a start like that, 4 1/3, 2 earned, that's perfect because the Dodgers bullpen has been so shut down, locked down, that 2 runs is enough. The Dodgers are going to score more than 2 runs in a game. They could score, yeah, and their bullpen's giving up like no runs aside from Landon Knack's kind of awful outing in Game 2. The Dodgers bullpen's given up 1 run as a collective unit in these 4 games, which is just beyond impressive. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Dodger bullpen is fabulous. I'm blown away that the guys in their bullpen have stepped up big time. They are making the right pitch to the right person. Shout out Mark Pryor. That's what we have to say on this podcast.
He's
Mark
good
Pryor,
at what he does.
shout it out. I wonder how much is it the pitching staff is dominating though, or how much is it like the Mets lineup has to be deflated when they watch these
Well,
pitchers
that's what I
compete?
asked. That goes to what I asked you earlier. Is it more of the Mets lineup problems, or is it more of the Dodgers bullpen's just really really good?
It's still the Dodgers bullpen is very good, but also if you're the Mets, right? This entire postseason has been you making these late inning heroics off of closers and off of middle relief guys who were good during the regular season. But now that you come up against the Dodgers, all of a sudden those late inning heroics are gone. We're not getting a Lindor 2-run double to tie the game in the eighth inning. We're not getting a Pete Alonso 3-run homer to tie it in the ninth. Like they are getting shut down. Which
Right, the clutch hits just
if you,
aren't there.
yeah, if you're the Mets, like that's what you were running on. That's what you were relying on. Not the best look. However, it is the Mets, so I'm not going to count them out yet. Like I said earlier.
But if you also look at it in terms of the comeback aspect and like in the Brewers game with the Pete Alonso homer, they were down by 2 runs, right?
Yeah,
They were down
or
by
three.
two. No, because it gave them the lead, didn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they were down by 2, and then the Lindor homer in Game 4 of the NLDS, they were down by 1. It was a 1-0 game. Their pitching has kept them in it, which has allowed them to have the opportunities to come back. But now that their bullpen is just giving up mass amount of runs, I mean, not even fully their fault. The Dodgers have a strong lineup, but either way, they're giving up a lot of runs. They're just taking the offense out of the game.
Yeah,
they're making
entirely.
they're making it harder for them to mount those comebacks because they need to score more than 4 or 5 runs to come back. I mean, I think if I'm doing my math right, which I rarely do, the the Mets bullpen has given up 15 earned runs in 4 games this series. It's
That
not
sounds
good.
about right.
It's
Yeah.
not good at all. Their starting pitching hasn't even been too awful. I mean, Mania went 5 innings, 2 earned. Quintana last night went 3 1/3, 5 earned. That was really bad. You had the Kodai Senga game, which was bad. Their pitching's been horrible. Their pitching finally fell off, I think is what I'm trying to say here. Now
Which is it's completely fair to say.
tonight they're leading on David Peterson. I'm very glad that they're not trying to do the Kodai Senga thing again. I
It
think
was
that
so
was
stupid.
horrible. So they're just saying, okay, David Peterson can just start the game. We know we don't want to take our chances with Kodai Senga starting this game and giving up 3 runs in the first inning and putting us in a position to lose before we even get to the plate, which I really like because I was not a fan of that Kodai Senga thing at all.
Yeah, I think that they were riding the high on the fact that they were able to get him through 2 innings in the Philly series. So they were like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the Dodgers lineup has been good. I will note one thing about the Dodgers and one like sort of crack in the armor that I see is if you can beat their like top 5 guys, right? The 1 through 5 in their order, I feel like it's a different ball game. And I only say that because if you look at the games that the Dodgers lineup really struggles in terms of just all season, right? And even in this postseason, we can look at game 2. The Dodgers went the first, what, 4 innings? Yes, 4 innings without scoring a run in game 2. And that lineup, just like, yeah, they still got 3 across eventually. But the Dodgers, the rest of the postseason, have been blowing teams out left and right. If you can slow them down, I think you have a very, very, very fair chance. It's just the
I mean,
problem of,
that's
you
easier said
can't
than done.
have like Sean Mania pitching every day.
Well, but
Yes,
I
that
mean
is
that
easier said than
it's
done.
also it's also a lot easier said than done, which I think is the main point there. I mean, you could say, listen, we got to shut down the best hitters in their lineup. It's like, well, of course you do because that's how else would you win the game? If you don't shut down the top hitters in their lineup, you're screwed. Like to
Yeah.
say the least. And they have not been able to do that. I mean, I read Mookie Betts' stats earlier. Tommy Edman hit fourth last night for them because Freddie Freeman's not playing, and I can only assume Freddie's not going to play in Game 5 either. They're up 3-1 in the series. Let him try to heal to be ready for the World Series. I mean, maybe
Oh,
if you have to go to a Game 6, but I don't see a reason for him to play, especially with how well Game 4 went last night.
I think he's only going to play again in the championship series if it actually gets to a game 7. That's the only way that I see it. Just because you can go back and watch his at bats and when he's running the bases or playing the field, he looks so beyond uncomfortable. They gotta shoot him up with something that just
Yeah,
fixes him instantly.
he's limping around a lot. I mean, you saw it when he was playing defense at first. I saw a lot of jokes being made of just bunt the ball to Freddie. Like, what's he gonna do? Run and go get it? He can't.
Yeah.
So like, he was moving really bad. There was no point in him playing. He was almost a liability at points, more on defense than on offense.
Which sucks because if anyone in that Dodger lineup deserves to really compete at the highest level, it's those top 3 guys of Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. And not seeing Freeman in the lineup kind of, I know that I should not be saying this because the Dodgers are a juggernaut force. It hurts not seeing Freddie in the lineup. I like watching the sweet lefty swing of Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, of course. But when you got guys going, there's really no point in risking that for the time being up in the series. But I agree, it stinks. I mean, I like watching Freddie Freeman. I don't know how we haven't mentioned Shohei Ohtani yet. He's back. He's the Shohei Ohtani of the regular season again. He's homered in back-to-back games.
3 and 4.
Game 3, that homer was an absolute bomb.
I'm convinced that StatCast is just wrong. It's only said that it was like 440 feet. That's just a lie.
Yeah, and in Game 4, he led off the game with the homer. Or Game 4. I'm getting the games mixed up at this point. So yeah, now that Shohei's going, it makes up for a guy like Teoscar Hernandez not hitting. So you kind of trade off who was hot in the division series. So you're kind of trading off one for the other. But Teo's gone hitless in the first 4 games of this series. But now I'd rather have Shohei on than Teo on if it comes down to the decision like that.
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is that Ohtani was kind of going. He just wasn't hitting the long ball. But, that's what Teo is in the lineup to do, is hit the long ball. So I guess it's an even trade.
I mean, Shohei wasn't too going. I mean, his postseason batting average is still 235. He's hitting 286 in the series. He's 4 for 14. He's been walked 7 times.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
In this series.
If I'm the Mets going into Game 5, genuinely, you live with walking people. You
can't
live
though.
with walking. No. I'm not saying that you can. I'm saying that you have to. You have to just accept the fact that, listen, you don't want to give Shohei Ohtani a pitch to hit. Who cares if he goes 90 feet?
No, but I think that's been a big part of their problem too, though. I don't think it's been good. Walking the batters. I mean, they walked 9 in Game 4. They walked 7 in Game 3. They walked, let's see, how many in Game 2? 8 in Game 2, and 7 in Game 1.
Well, that's just the Dodgers also being good at the plate.
I don't think it is. I
don't
think it necessarily is. I mean,
it's the Dodgers being good at the plate, so why would you want to give a pitch to hit to Mookie Betts, who's been on fire?
But you're giving them free men on base for guys in the bottom of the lineup like Tommy Edman, who are
walking them.
I understand that, but I'm saying they are walking 7 to 8 to 9 batters in a game. That's never a good thing, no matter who it is. You're giving them free men on base, especially when a guy like Tommy Edman, who maybe you underrate or don't see as much of as a threat, is going, and you're giving him runners on base, and suddenly he's got 7 RBIs in the series, and you're down 3-1 because you're just letting so many runners on base. I think the Mets pitching has been a pretty big problem. And I think
it has been, yes. But I would rather give Shohei Ohtani 90 feet than let him hit a ball 900 feet.
I disagree.
That's
I mean, when you put it like that, objectively, of course, I'm going to prefer to give him 90 feet over a home run. But he's not hitting a home run every at-bat.
But he can't.
No, he can't hit a home run every at-bat, and he's not going to.
The last 2 games, he has 2 homers.
Correct. How many at-bats has he had? Not
Come
two.
on,
He's had
7.
more than 2 at bats.
How many walks does he
He's got 7 walks in the series. I don't know about the last 2 games specifically.
have?
I mean, Max Muncy has 8 walks. That's crazy.
That's
Walking Max
crazy
Muncy
work.
8 times. I think that's been a huge problem. And then like Teoscar Hernandez, he hasn't got a hit this series, but he's been walked 6 times. Like he's not seeing
Yeah.
the ball well, obviously, judging by the fact that he's 0 for 14, and they're walking him 6 times. So I think if the Mets want to come back in the series, they gotta stop walking so many batters, in my opinion.
All right.
And I mean today,
I get where you're coming from.
like we said, it's David Peterson against Jack Flaherty with the season on the line for the Mets and a trip to the World Series on the line for the Dodgers. Who do you got? What do you think we're going to see from both of these starters today?
I think genuinely, I don't think it's going to be a game for the starters. I think both teams are going to hit. But I do think, and this might come to bite me in the ass, I think the Mets prevail. I think that they can at least hold them for one more game.
Even
Make
with
it a little interesting.
Even with Jack Flaherty having like dominated them in Game 1.
Yeah. Second go around. You've seen him before. You know what to expect. Figure it out. I think genuinely believe that the Mets can win this one.
See, I think you saying that both teams are going to hit makes me worried because if the Dodgers are hitting at the same pace the Mets are, I think the Dodgers bullpen outlasts the Mets bullpen in terms of giving up runs.
Well, it depends. I mean, if we go the first 4 innings of the game tonight and the Dodgers score 1 run and the Mets score 2, that's a major success in terms of, okay, let's try to figure out the Dodger bullpen. Let's try to get to it. And obviously the Dodgers will say the same thing about the Mets bullpen. However, I think it's going to be a lot different. I think Jack Flaherty going a second time around against this Mets lineup that has been very, very good throughout this postseason is dangerous. I think that they're going to figure him out. And I do think that, sure, David Peterson might also not be perfect. It might be the same situation for the Dodgers facing David Peterson again. I just feel like the Mets will prevail in that battle.
Okay, I mean, if it's 2-1, both teams aren't really, I wouldn't call that hitting. If
Right,
it's
no,
2-1.
no, I was just giving the example of, that's what you could say is successful for both teams.
I guess so. I mean, a success for the Dodgers is Flaherty goes out and puts up the exact same line as he did in Game 1, because if he does that again, it's over. I think they'll bring in a couple of their high leverage relievers at that point, and there's not much that the Mets can do, and I think they'll score. I think they're going to get to David Peterson. They got to him in Game 1 when he came out of the bullpen. They scored 2 or 3 runs off him, I believe. But you never know. I mean, I like your optimism for the Mets. I don't share that same optimism just because of how the last 2 games have been blowouts, and even Game 1, all 3 games that they've lost have been complete blowouts.
Yeah, but we've been saying it all postseason. This is the never say die Mets.
It is, but
it's never say die Mets for a reason.
The last 2 games, it hasn't looked that way. So I don't know. It's the downward trend. It looks like the only shot they have to win a game is when Sean Manaea is on the mound.
Yeah,
but if they can get
Sean
through,
Manaea should throw out the ceremonial first pitch tonight.
Maybe they'll put him in just for the first pitch.
Just for the first pitch.
Maybe
in game, actual first AB.
Yeah, but then again, if they get to Game 6, if they win Game 5 and get to Game 6, Manaea will be pitching, which is a great position to be in a Game 6 because that puts you in that boosts their chances of going to Game 7. So if the Mets can get through this game, it'll be huge.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think they can.
I think if they get through this game, it will go to a Game 7. Do you agree?
You know what? Yeah, I'll get behind that. If they win Game 5, it'll go to Game 7.
Yeah, because I think they'll win the Manaea start in Game 6.
Even though it'll be in Dodger Stadium.
No, I don't think it's a venue thing. I think it's just Sean Manaea thing.
I love Sean Manaea.
Hey, he's good.
Shout out future blank check man, Sean Manaea.
I wouldn't go that far, but I see what you're saying. All right, well, we're just going to have to wait and find out. We're going to have to watch ourselves, and that we will do. Thank you for watching, viewing, liking, and all that.
I'll
And
go
we
with
will
the
see you
Bulls.
guys. Oh, nice. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.